It'll be the first time we've done that, so that's going to be a big part. We got meetings on Saturday, and then they have an off day on Sunday. Then we'll have a normal game week starting Monday. So we still got a long way to go and a lot of preparation to get the team ready to play. And we're not ready to play right now, but again, I know there's a lot going on campus, and everybody's just getting back, and there's some energy around here. But we still got a lot of work to do with this football team.
Can you get anybody back today?
Anybody back today? Kalen was back today. He'd been out a couple days, and he was back. That's pretty much it. We'll hope to get J-Ron back by Monday. Ben, hopefully we'll get him back in green tomorrow night. He was dinged up. And that's pretty much it. Still nursing McKenzie and J-Ron and Adrian Baker. Adrian's close. He's probably, hopefully Monday, really put him in green as well. So other than that, I think that's about it. Supposed to get the guys back.
Are you prepared?
Tyshawn's not back today. I'm hopeful that maybe Monday as well with him, that we can at least get him back in green. But we'll just have to wait to see how he responds.
Are you prepared to go forward without those DBs, or?
Oh yeah. Oh shoot, yeah. Yeah. We way past all that. I mean, Adrian's been out for a while. McKenzie's been limited for most all of camp, Martin is back. Martin has been back solid for about a week now. Has really looked good. So that's a big shot in the arm for us. Keeping our fingers crossed. Hopefully he'll be ready to go and still on the right track this time next week.
Who would be your starters at corner today?
It's a kind of a toss-up right now between Breland and Darius and Peters and Martin. Those four guys are really, kind of all starters in our eyes, and we're going to need all four of them. We have not worked Martin at a lot of nickel, just because we really going into it just couldn't feel like we could count on him until we could see him consistently practicing. But he's a guy that maybe can work back in the mix somewhere, here, as we get going into the season. But, I feel good about those four guys. And Breland got a little banged up today, but I think he'll be okay. It's still the safety position that is a concern. It's just simply, when I say concern, we just got young players there in our depth. But Breland has worked a pretty good bit of safety, so he could always go back to safety if we got got in a bind there. He could give us a little bit of flexibility, and then Jadar and Bill Hagan and Taylor Watson and all those guys, Cordray, they're just young players that's got a lot to learn.
You mentioned the discipline practice today. When you've had this happen in the past, so close to game week, for a game like this, it shouldn't be hard to get guys down back in after going off track. Should it? Really?
No, it shouldn't be, but we'll find out tomorrow night and see how they come back ready to work. And I know they're tired and it's been a long camp, and again they're just starting school, but that's the mental toughness. You got to push through that, and I just didn't think we did a good job of it today at all.
Numerous
backups, and it's frustrating when backups go in and they haven't paid attention. You're running the same plays, and they go in, they either make the same mistake or they act like they hadn't seen it, when we've already run it. Those are the type of things, and some of it's youth. We got a lot of young guys that we got mixed in some spots, but just as a whole, both sides just not very focused today like we need.
Most of your veteran players that we talked to say that this is the most grueling camp they can remember. More hitting, more physical. From their vantage point, it seems that's been the case.
Same camp we had last year. Pretty much, in fact, if anything, I've probably backed off a little bit the last couple of days from what we did last year, just because I think we're a little bit more of a veteran team. But we've worked them hard. There's no question, but everybody works hard.
What are your thoughts on how the offensive line has gelled this camp? How do you feel about them going into this week?
I think our OL is come together nicely. I feel good about that first group, and I think we've got 10, 11, 12, maybe 13 guys that are worth mentioning. But really feel good about first 7, 8 guys. I think we got a chance to be a really good group up front, and they've got good experience, good toughness. They know what they're doing. have a good understanding of our system. But we've got better competition there than we had last year, and just more quality depth, guys that I can say I can trust to go in there and play. So that's the best part.
I guess with camp sort of over and game week coming up, I mean, have you shifted your focus sort of fully to Georgia? At this point?
Yeah. We're scout teams and full speed ahead on Georgia, and really trying to get everybody ready for tomorrow night. And then we're gonna present a lot to them, and then just have a couple days Saturday and Sunday to kind of get their legs back, really feeling good. And then Monday just have a normal game prep week. Maybe a little different than a normal week, but for the most part, a normal week.
What are your impressions of Georgia?
They're a great football team. There's a reason why a lot of people are picking them to win the national championship. They've got a great quarterback. Got as good a backs as we're going to see. Maybe as long as I'm at Clemson, these guys are really, really good players. Gurley gets everybody talks about him, but Marshall's outstanding. So, outstanding skill players, veteran offensive line. Defensively, they've got some unknowns for us. They got good players. Everybody wants to say they're thin on defense. They got a lot of guys that have started a bunch of games. And, we'll have a big challenge ahead of us. So.
Especially true in your secondary, I'm guessing, with so much inexperience and injuries you've been dealing with going up against an offense like that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it doesn't matter who Alabama was the #1 defense in the country last year, and y'all watched that game. I mean, Georgia kind of had their way. It was toe-to-toe all night, so it doesn't matter who you are, who you put out there on defense. This is a huge, huge challenge for our football team, both offensively and defensively, because they've got good players. I mean, they're where they are, and deserving themselves. So we got to make sure we got our act together and ready to play at a high level.
If everybody was healthy, you still wouldn't have a lot of experience at tight end. Are you looking to be creative to help yourself in those situations, or?
I just think, next guy up kind of deal. We didn't have a lot of experience when Dwayne left. Brandon Ford was kind of that backup guy, and it's kind of his turn to step up. And the same thing this year. Darryl Smith brings a ton of experience and has had a great camp. And, he's a guy that's going to be a big factor for us. But it's kind of second year's opportunity to step up, and I think he will. I mean, I really do. I mean, I know he's just a sophomore, but he's played a little bit, and he's been kind of through some battles on our practice field. He's got a real maturity to him, and I think he'll respond. And I think JJ is the guy that's got the whole package, but he's not ready for the whole package, offensively.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to be, but right now he's still kind of putting it together. So we have to game plan with him. And I think he's definitely, as the year goes on, going to be a really nice factor for us. We've got some good players there, and then we're going to get Coop back soon, and then Leggett, we're going to get him back soon. Leggett may even be available against Georgia. We'll just have to see.
Is second year one of those folks where you don't want to say too much until you actually see him?
Kind of. I mean, he's performed well on our practice field. We trust him, but. He's got to go and he's got to put some games together. Kind of like Brandon Ford. Brandon Ford y'all remember he had an awful game against Auburn last year. I mean, everybody was about ready to write him off. Oh my gosh. But he came back and was as good a player as we had on the team and made some huge plays for us. So you just want to see guys. I felt confident in Brandon, but you want to see him respond. And he didn't have a good first game, but he had a good season. And second year's going to make some mistakes, but I think when the year is over and he stays healthy, I think he's going to be a good player and a still developing player.
Sure.
But I think he'll be a factor for us.
You've mentioned that college football is the only level where you don't play preseason games. How much does having Taj back and Sammy back and 4 of those starters on the O-line help sort of ease that?
Well, it's big because the openers are always so tough because you have more time for that one game than any game that you ever play, because you've been game planning for this game since last January. You've been studying your opener, and you've got all summer and you've got all fall camp, and so there's always, even if the staffs are the same, there's always unknowns, there's always little nuances and tweaks that are different. There's some game plan things that are unexpected. So the more experience that you have with guys and guys being able to make adjustments kind of on the fly is great. So as opposed to just a bunch of rookies out there, it's got to be this way or we're in trouble, because we'll prepare, but there will be some different things, and we'll have to make adjustments. So when you got a quarterback who's seen a lot, you feel like that he's going to give you a chance. And the same thing for them.
When people talk about this game, all the analysts, they tend to say it's going to be a shootout. Is that something your defense can sort of use as motivation?
Might be 6-3. Y'all think it'll be 6-3? What are the odds on that?
I'll take a piece of that.
Yeah.
I'll take the over.
I don't think it'll be 6-3. As far as a shootout, I don't know, but both teams are very capable of scoring. Both teams are very capable of getting stops. Ultimately, in games like this, when it's very evenly matched, you pick and choose different spots, but it really comes down to turnovers and some just who makes the most mistakes, field position, those type of things. So that's why it's a big challenge, because you don't have a lot of room for error. If we were playing another team that we were just more physically dominant than, we could probably make a lot of mistakes and maybe still overcome it. But against a team like this, and vice versa, you can't afford a lot of those type of mistakes. Big blunder with special teams, that's usually what these type of games come down to early.
Some of the old grads, or wouldn't have to be your old grads, remind you of that stretch of games with Georgia in the 80s.
Oh, yeah.
They talk to you a lot about that.
Oh, yeah. Well, y'all know that Woody McCorvey was my position coach at Alabama, and then I coached with him for many years, and 8 years, and Danny Pearman, Bill Oliver, and Ellis Johnson. I spent a lot of time with all those guys, and so I was well versed on Clemson of the 80s for my many years at Alabama, because I was either playing for those guys or working with those guys, and they always talked about their time at Clemson. I worked with Curly Hallman, who was here on the national championship team. Of course, Hootie Ingram, who wasn't here in the 80s, but Hootie was my AD when I was at Alabama. So I've probably heard more and probably know more of the guys from the 80s than any other decade. So hopefully some of those guys can rub off on us a little bit.
Georgia was your first game here as an assistant, correct?
Yeah, I tried to forget that. Thanks for reminding me. I just about had filed that away and it was gone. It just reminded me. Yeah, I remember that. Pollock was awesome. I remember. I think they hit a big post on Justin Miller early in the game. Number 82, I think was the guy's number. Oh my goodness. Yeah, that was not how I was wanting to start off my Clemson career. I was going, what have I gotten myself into? But they were a really good football team, and we were pretty average at that point, especially early. Now we all remember we finished strong and we got better as the season went, but we were a pretty average team early that year.
Can this be sort of a measuring stick for how far the program's come since that night?
Oh, I mean, I don't know about all that. Y'all can figure that out. It's different players, and none of these guys even. Heck, these guys a lot of them were 8 years old or something when all that was going on. I think it's just an opener. At the end of the day, it's just an opener. I know it's a monster game, and trust me, we all get that, but it's just an opener, and we're gonna learn from it, regardless of what ends up on the scoreboard. We're gonna learn a lot about our team, and we're gonna grow from it, and we're gonna go get better. Win the game. There's still going to be mistakes made. Lose a game, there's obviously mistakes made. We got to get better, because our goals are much bigger than an opener. We got a lot of games. We've got 12 games on our schedule, and we want to be the very best that we can possibly be. So, measuring stick maybe of, two great teams. Where are we? How much did we get done in camp? Retention. Maybe some of these young guys, are they ready to respond? How far along are they really? Those type of things. And it was similar last year to us. Last year we had a lot of unknowns going into that game. Auburn, different coordinators. We were basically starting over. in the defensive line and the offensive line last year, and we felt like we knew